Well, it appears that winter is over. So...
Hey Facebook, I want to talk, and YouTube for that matter, I want to talk briefly about the importance of natural point of aim and your grip. Now, you've probably heard about natural point of aim and how you stand, so that when you're standing, addressing the target, you could just, you're pointed. Basically, with the pistol, at least for me, my hips are aimed, I'm shifting my hips here, my hips are aimed at the target so that I can close my eyes, lift the gun up, and I'll be right left, pretty much right on target. I might have to adjust my elevation, but I'll be right left, right on target. And so having that natural point of aim with your body, really important. But one thing that we don't talk about very much is having that natural point of aim with your grip. Now, what do I mean there?
Well, here's an example of what I don't mean. So, my grip was not good, and what happened is the gun was pointed to, well, off target.
All right, so this is a stage that you've probably shot in Steel Challenge. It's something called roundabout. It's fast. Well, it should be fast. If I'm doing my part, it's fast. If I'm not doing my part, it's painfully slow, but I digress. So this evening I've been practicing roundabout with both my rimfire pistol iron and my rimfire pistol optic. And what I see with the irons especially is that if my grip is not perfect, my sights are going to line up cattywampus. And so that first shot on the 12-inch there at 15 yards, I'll wind up being just left, either just left of the plate or on the left side of the plate. And I'll wind up having that same thing happen on plate 3, that 12 way out yonder on the right side. If my grip isn't right, if my fingers aren't exactly where they need to be, the gun winds up being, and I don't know if I can, the gun winds up being turned, and I'm exaggerating, in my hand, in my grip. And so it's really important that as I address the targets before I even start, that I take a moment to make sure my grip is perfectly aligned. So what do I mean by perfectly aligned? So here we are, I'm going to try to focus here. If my grip is right, when I just bring the gun up, the sights are going to be perfectly aligned. That is going to be perfect. If it's off just slightly, then I need to adjust my grip. I'm going to move where my fingertips are, and I'm going to pay special attention to where the gun is hitting the back of the gun is hitting my hand. I'm not left-handed, but so I'm going to make sure that it's lined up just right, and I may have to move my fingers to get the grip just right so that that gun is lined up perfectly in my grip.
So when we're talking about lined up perfectly, if it's not lined up perfectly, what has to happen is now when the gun comes up on target, we have to move it left-right to align those sights. That just wastes time.
Hopefully this will show up in frame. And then, after I've gone and gotten that perfectly lined up, and I've made my grip the way I want it, aimed at the target, I'm just bringing it down. I'm not changing the angle of my wrists at all. I'm just going from having my grip perfectly aligned down, so that when it comes up, the sights are perfectly aligned based on natural point of aim.
So let's take a look at what happens when I take a moment to actually check my grip and make sure it's perfect before I start. So having it perfectly in my hands before I start allows me to just point at the target rather than try to align my sights. And if I don't have to align my sights because they're already aligned, then the shooting is fast.